Hey everybody. I made a few vids here lately, I just haven't posted them yet. They haven't been very upbeat. A little bit about the shooting, that's kind of a long video. As horrible as it is, and of course about some other things that are related to it that I don't even know if I want to post them. So I'm going to try to do this one as upbeat as I can with my normal monotone boring voice. Deal with it! Yeah, right. So anyways, this is a good vid. I'm excited. It's the first video I'm taking of a review using my iPhone 5. It was a Christmas present for my wife that she gave me early. And I'm very happy to have it. It's a pretty neat phone. And then this beautiful thing right here. The Sebenza 25. And what a beauty it is. I still think it should have had a different name. Just like they gave the Zan its own name because it's not a Sebenza. This isn't really a Sebenza either. It is, but it isn't. Just like it's not an Zan. Kind of is, but it isn't. It's sort of a hybrid between the two. I think it should have its own title. It has some very neat features, and I really like the knife. I like it enough that I haven't been able to use it yet, other than some very light cutting. I don't want to mark it up. Those of you who follow the forums probably know most of the features, but I'll try to go over them in minor detail real quick. The thing that makes this not a Sebenza for me is that they did away with the bushing system on the pivot that the Sebenza was really known for. As kind of a trademark thing for the Sebenza. You just take it apart simply, wrench that down as tight as you want to put it. The bushing's there to keep the handles apart at a certain distance, and the blade would not be sticky or tight. It would always be the same, and was flawless. No wiggle to the action of the knife. Lock up like a bank vault. And you know, if I would have been told 3 years ago, 2 years ago that they were moving away from that and a knife that they were going to call a Sebenza, I wouldn't have wanted it. Since then, I have spent about 2 years carrying an Zan, not this one, my Tanto. This one has a few weeks on it. And there's no pivot system in this knife. And it relies upon the same size pivot. And I've grown to really like this knife. And I find no flaw in not having the bushing in there. So, big deal. I can get over it. The other thing that makes it not a Sebenza for me is that they're using a ceramic ball bearing, not just for the action of the knife or the detent, but as the lock interface. And you can see it in there in the lock bar. I'll see if I can make this look a little better. You see that 1/8 inch ceramic ball bearing there? And that's a larger detent ball than they use in the Zan. I like the lockup better. In the Zan, the bar is over a little further. And the detent on this knife is outstanding from the larger ceramic ball. Let's see if I can do this slow enough. Man, you can't even open the thing. You can hear it clicking. It's amazing. If you would have told me that they were going to call this a Sebenza and use that 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been interested. 2 strikes against it. Except, for a few years now, I've been carrying one of these, and this was the initial knife that they made using that interface. And it's turned out to be great. My only flaw with the Zan is the amount of give that the lock bar has. Well, they fixed that in this knife too, due to the geometry of the pivot and the stop pin, how it's laid out. it doesn't flex. Not like that. There's no movement this way with the lock bar. It seems like the lock bar is higher into the blade or something. I mean, it doesn't look like it, but if you look at where the pivot in relation to the blade are, it's a little bit closer. And I think it stops that. It's these little tweaks that Chris does that make it nice. It really is lefty useful, just like the Zans later are, but easier to get to. The thing that makes it not an Zan is, man, it's using a stop pin, whereas the Zan uses the thumb studs as a stop pin. So it's not an Zan in that way, but the thickness of the scales and the blade are the same as an Zan. This is why it's a hybrid. Sebenza stop pin, except for it's not a Sebenza stop pin. You can't take it out. It's press fitted into the knife. You take the scale off, that pin will stay there. You can remove this one, which is different than a Sebenza. Instead of a bolt and a collar going through, these both screw into that backspacer. Kind of neat. I don't know if it's tougher. I really don't know. Neat, because you can take just this half off, take the blade off, service the knife, and put it all back together without even having to get into this side at all. I think that's kind of nice. My buddy Esmet, his barely came apart after he undid this screw. He had to twist it and really tweak it. But you'd have to have that as a tight fit, and the tolerance is super good to keep your lock upright. Some guys are commenting on this notch, and I appreciate that Chris is constantly looking for ways to make the production better, quicker for his machines and for people, so that he can keep the prices the same while everything else goes up. That's all that is. Taking your very nice rounded spine to a flat. Now on other knives, this one doesn't get the rounded spine, but on your Sebenzas, that had to be hand done. Now, this, I don't know if you can do it with a machine or they're just able to quickly do it by hand, and then that notch makes it easy, not a big worry. I don't think it's going to make any weakness in the blade. If you ever looked up Landkay knives, the bayonets, you'll notice that they had notches for their saw, and they were breaking blades because they were V-cut. Once they round cut them, they had no more problems because there's no stress in the area. I doubt that will have any impact on the blade. And aesthetically, I like it. I like the new jimping. I like the loss of the locating hole. I like the loss of the lanyard hole that they're using the standoff as a lanyard pin. I like the recesses in the rear of the blade for the lanyard, which my buddy Esmet's is shaped differently than this. One side is high and the other side is the same as mine. Hopefully we can get these two knives in the same room, and we can give you guys a comparison video. The lockup is Sebenza-like, rock solid, no wiggle, smooth action, kind of hydraulic like any Chris Reeves, especially when new. The detent is so tough I can barely open the knife with my one thumb, but I like it. It is a very, very good knife. I'm happy to have it. I believe it deserves its own name. It might sound funny. It's not a Sebenza, and although it all uses the same thickness materials as an Zan, the same pivot as the Zan in the tie lock, and the same interface as the Zan, it's not an Zan. It's its own hybrid or unique thing. The Benza, or the Sebenzazan, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I guess to make it easy and keep people from getting tongue twisted, the 25 will work. I'm happy to have one, and I have to give special thanks to the Aiden's Daddy 17 off of Blade Forums and now off of YouTube. You guys please check out his vids. He's just starting to do some. He did his first vid, I believe, on this exact knife, and not this model. I mean this exact knife. That's how I got one. This is one of the first 30 that were released by Chris, and I'm very happy to have it. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I saw these at Blade Show. Me and my buddy S met, and it had our birthdays. We share a birthday, just 5 years apart. We're inscribed on the blade. We both wanted one, except for they were $2,500. So we both passed, and when the productions came out, I wanted to see how good they were. So he bought one. I waited to see it, and then I tried to find one, and they were all gone. And was lucky enough to have the Aiden's Daddy 17 sell me his at a super fair price too. It didn't even gouge. What a stand-up guy. So thank you, sir, and you guys will see this in more vids. It's getting so close to pocket carried and beat up. I just haven't done it yet because I'm still loving on that one. Everybody, thanks for watching. Take care. Stay safe. Look out for each other.